The cabin of Skylift Flight 409 vibrated with the low hum of engines and scattered chatter, but nothing felt normal to 16-year-old Nia Porter, who sat trembling in seat 14A, wrists bound by stainless steel restraint cuffs so tight they carved into her skin. She tried to breathe through the panic clawing at her chest, her vision flickering with spots as pain radiated up her arms. An hour earlier, she had simply been walking down the jet bridge, earbuds in, ticket in hand, ready to visit her grandmother for the summer. But a gate agent, convinced she was acting suspicious, claimed she matched the description of a disruptive teen reported on a different flight hours ago. Before Nia could speak, 2 overzealous security officers seized her, ignoring her ID, ignoring her ticket, ignoring her tears, and forced her into cuffs under the thin veil of preventative safety procedure. The flight attendants didn't question it. The passengers didn't intervene. And Nia, terrified and humiliated, was shoved into a middle seat like a threat instead of a child. "Keep her restrained until landing," the lead attendant said sharply, avoiding eye contact. Nia tried to ask why this was happening, but every question was met with, "Quiet. Stop resisting." She wasn't resisting. She was breaking. As the flight climbed through clouds, the pressure in her arms grew unbearable. Her fingers numbed. Her breath fractured. A wave of dizziness washed over her as she tried one last time, voice trembling. "Please, the cuffs, they're too tight." But the attendant brushed past her with a dismissive, "You brought this on yourself." The words were the final cut. Nia slumped forward, consciousness slipping as the world dimmed into muffled echoes. A passenger gasped when her head hit the tray table. "She's fainted!" someone shouted. Panic rippled through the plane, attendants scrambling as they realized the child they restrained like a criminal was now unresponsive. Alarms rang in their minds, legal, moral, human, colliding all at once. The captain was notified, emergency protocols activated, and within minutes the plane made a rapid descent toward the nearest airport. But what awaited them on the ground was not medics, not security, not panic. It was something far more unsettling to the crew, the arrival of a man who would flip their entire world upside down. Because when the doors opened, Elias Porter, CEO of Skylift International, and Nia's father, stepped onto the aircraft with a presence so commanding the aisle itself seemed to widen for him. Elias took one look at his daughter, limp, wrist bruised purple, oxygen mask pressed to her face, and something inside him snapped with a silent, devastating finality. The attendants froze as he approached, not with anger, but with the controlled calm of a man accustomed to ending careers with a signature. He knelt beside Nia, brushing a hand over her forehead, voice cracking as he whispered, "I'm here, sweetheart." Her eyelids fluttered weakly, and when she recognized his voice, tears slipped down her cheeks. "Daddy, they hurt me." Elias stood slowly, rising into a storm. "Who restrained her?" he asked, voice low and lethal. The lead attendant stepped forward, trembling. "Sir, we had reason to believe she was a threat." "A threat?" Elias repeated, each syllable dripping with disbelief. "My daughter is 16. She was sitting alone. She was complying. And you cuffed her without verification?" He turned to the security officers standing stiffly in the galley. "And you too?" One swallowed hard. "She matched a description of another child?" Elias cut in sharply. "So your solution was to bypass protocol, skip identification, ignore her ticket, and place her in restraints meant for violent adults?" Silence answered him. Passengers watched, ashamed they had allowed fear to override humanity. Elias reached into his coat and retrieved a sleek black CO identification badge, holding it high. The attendants paled instantly. "I am Elias Porter," he said, voice echoing with authority. "This airline, its policies, its culture, its failures, is under my leadership. And today, all of you have shown me exactly what needs to change." The captain attempted to intervene, but Elias raised a hand, stopping him cold. "This aircraft will not depart again until every employee involved is removed from duty. Effective immediately." Gasps rippled across the cabin. "Furthermore," Elias continued, This incident will trigger a full-scale audit of restraint procedures, profiling behaviors, and gate-level decision-making. Training will be rewritten. Accountability will be enforced. And the names of every witness here will be recorded. He moved to the intercom, pressed the button, and addressed the entire plane. Ladies and gentlemen, I apologize as a father and as the CEO of this airline. What happened to my daughter could have happened to anyone's. And that is something I will not allow to continue. Passengers applauded, some in solidarity, some in shame, as the implicated staff were escorted off the aircraft. The energy shifted. The fear shifted. The truth became unavoidable. Elias wasn't finished. With a new crew on board and medical personnel clearing Nia as stable but shaken, Elias remained standing at the front of the cabin, unwilling to sit until every passenger understood the magnitude of what had happened. The plane doors closed again, but the atmosphere had transformed, heavier, more reverent, as if the aircraft itself recognized it was carrying the weight of a reckoning. Nia, now reclined comfortably with her father kneeling beside her, whispered, "Daddy, are they gone?" Elias nodded. "They won't come near you again. Or anyone else like that." A woman across the aisle wiped tears. "Sir, we should have said something. We saw it happening." "We didn't." Elias met her eyes, not with anger, but with a quiet, tired truth. "Most people don't. That's the problem." The engines hummed back to life, but every person watched as Elias held his daughter's hand, his other hand gripping the armrests with a tension that betrayed just how close he had come to breaking entirely. When the wheels lifted from the tarmac, the cabin seemed suspended not by physics, but by the collective realization that silence is dangerous. Nia looked at her father again. "Daddy, you fixed it." Elias exhaled, a shuddering breath. "I will always fix it. But I shouldn't have to." The plane climbed higher. The world below shrank. But the message in that cabin grew into something unstoppable. Change was coming, and it had a name, a face, and a reason to never, ever back down. If this story moved you, even for a moment, don't let it disappear into the scroll. Speak on it. Share your thoughts in the comments. What part hit you hardest? Was it when Nia begged for help and was ignored? When she fainted in restraints no child should ever wear? Or when her father stepped on board and rewrote the narrative with truth, authority, and love? Your voice matters. Your reaction matters. These stories shine a light on the moments too many people excuse or overlook. If something in you stirred, anger, sadness, hope, put it into words. Someone reading your comment might finally feel seen. Share this video so others understand how quickly profiling can escalate into harm, and why speaking up is never optional. And if you believe in storytelling that exposes injustice, honors resilience, and amplifies voices too often silenced, then hit like, subscribe, and stay with this community. Every comment, every share, every engagement pushes these stories into spaces where they can spark awareness and change. You're part of that change. Your voice joins a chorus demanding better, not just in airlines, but in classrooms, workplaces, and everyday life. Thank you for feeling, watching, reflecting, and choosing not to stay silent. The work continues, and together, we keep pushing.